Man, you guys, I am super pumped for this Tournament of Champions, especially with a start like this. Welcome to the Final Wager. I'm Keith Williams. My model had Catherine going into the lead in Final Jeopardy, but not with scores like this. You've got over $40,000 in money on the table right here, and that's without the benefit of any daily doubles. Catherine bet pretty modestly on all three that she saw. In fact, the one that cost her the most was a $2,000 daily double in the first round. So their Coriat scores, which are the measure of how well they did without the daily doubles taken into account, at least the wagering, is well over 40,000. Last year, the average in the quarterfinals was just 31,000. So an impressive start by all three players. I'm excited for this TOC for another reason. Well, beyond it being 15 of the best players of the past year. Because of the Sony hack, they didn't have a college championship or a team tournament last year, so the last time I've had a real excuse to talk about wildcards and that sort of strategy was 9 months ago in February for the teachers tournament. That's a long time, and you know I like talking about wildcards. I'm going to do things a little bit differently during this first week. I don't know what the players have wagered yet. I'm going to just work through the numbers and see what I would do as each of them. Just give them some guesses as to what might be their best thing. I have built a calculator that tells you, based on past non-winning scores, including those who didn't qualify for wildcards, what the best wager would be. And I'm pretty sure that 17-2 and 17-8 are good where they are. Vaughn and Catherine are okay just to stand pat if they want, or they could wager a little bit. Of course, if you win, you get an automatic berth, and there is a chance that someone, well, 4 people could come along and beat 17-2 or 17-8. Who knows? It's a pretty stacked field this year. So what would I do here? If this is a regular game, this is a Shores conjecture situation because Dan doubles up, he has 15-6. Vaughn can wager up to 15.99, and that passes Catherine if he's right, and Catherine wagers 0. So I'm just going to start under that assumption. I'm not going to give Catherine a lockout wager. That's just stupid at this point. So Dan goes for that 15-6, which, given his wagering history, I would not be surprised if he goes for 77.99. And that's actually probably his best wager at this point. What did I say, 1,600. So if he wagers 1,600 and gets it right, he's going to have 18.8. So if I'm Catherine, I'm thinking maybe I wager 1,001. Or 1,000 might be good. Vaughn up to 15.99. Maybe Vaughn says, hey, Catherine is thinking about me. She's going to wager 1,000. She gets that wrong. She's going to have 400 less than me, so maybe I say 399. And really, that's all the math I would do here. Dan, we'll find out. Be right back. All right, so the funny thing is, when I was doing this $3.99 amount, I almost stopped and said, this is dumb. No one's going to think 3 steps ahead. So Vaughn wagers $15.99, and Catherine tries to cover him with 1,000, and then Vaughn says, okay, Catherine's going to wager 1,000, so I'm going to wager $3.99. And I said, that's stupid. No one would go that far into it. And then Catherine goes for 200, which if Vaughn does wager $3.99 and he gets it right and she misses, she would win by $1. So I guess someone studied some wagering during the last, God, how long has it been since she's been on? Over a year. She's our longest waiting champion, and she's also our first semifinalist. Congratulations, Catherine. Well played. And Vaughn, nice job. Dan, good wager there, 14,000. I think my my wild card guess of 11,599 is going to be a little bit low. Of course, we do have 4 games left, and who knows? Sometimes these final clues play a lot harder. I do have to admit that I did not like the chess champs category. That's way too easy. And what was up with that Aladdin clue being at the $1,000 level instead of that Star Trek clue, which was at the $200 level? And not being a Star Trek fan, I had no idea what they were talking about. But I think every person who watches Jeopardy has probably seen Aladdin at some point, or knows who Jafar is and Iago is. Okay, griping is over. Just very impressive game, and got to admit, the regret for not going to see these tapings in person starting to set in pretty hard. Especially because now all I want to do is just binge watch the entire tournament, which, in effect, you can do when you go to the taping because they tape them back to back to back. But, like the rest of you, I'm just going to wait till tomorrow, and looking forward to it. 3 more great champs, and we will see you then on the Final Wager.